Good morning. It's Wednesday and it's 9 o'clock, so it's Norma Talks. I have to admit, this morning I didn't even know I was going to be able to be here to be with you this morning because my body doesn't like the weather and it is full of aches and pains and yuckies. But I persevered and I'm here. Perhaps not the most delightfulness, but I'm managing. And that's one thing because I can sit down. I have a big glass of water because I have an awful dry throat and everything else. But today, basically, no matter how long we are, this is about October's reading. Now, some of you may have already read or seen different talks where people are predicting all sorts of things beginning to happen. I kept myself pretty clear, not about that, until I began putting these symbols down. Now I'm going to show them to you. And as I say, what happens in this is it always shows it back to front. And I don't know what to do about that. So I'm going to kind of read them from the table, but you can see the devil is the first symbol, but it's on the wrong side of the page. So you're going backwards, but I know there's a way of sorting that out. I just haven't done that yet. And my arm is really sore, so I'm going to try and keep it up with this one hand here. When I first looked at this, my first thought was like, wow, because the top line is not the easiest line to read. A lot of emotion, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of things happening. And if we start off with the devil, that is your emotions out of control. A lot of reaction. And then comes the 10 of Wands. So we're looking at, if we take this as beginning as a first, so by the third, everyone, like it's like a generalization of everyone worrying and not sure how are we going to get there, how are we going to get to where we're going, what we're going to do, what's it going to mean. And consequently, as we move into maybe the 5th, 7th, a little bit of a breath of communication, things evening out. But it doesn't stay. Because by the time we get to around the 10th, we're at the 3 of Pentacles, which is frustration. There's a plan, but who's following the plan? How does that plan look? What does that plan mean? How does that work? So it's a lot of frustration. And then, just to compound it, we have the moon, the other strong emotional symbol. So this whole top line is really the only thing about that is the touch bone is in the center is the 2 of Cups, where communication. So communication shall be being tried, but I don't know. It's really like difficult. So I think we're looking at maybe the 15th of the month before things kind of begin to get sorted out. So what do we have then? We have, excuse me, the 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups is always a very interesting because it's like arms and legs crossed, like looking at what he's got, saying, well, this is it. And yet it says, hang on a minute. There's new things coming. There's new things always wanting and coming in. And so consequently, a lot of this trauma, uncertainty, all the emotionality, the not knowing what's going on, thinking this is happening, that's happening, we're going back and forth, begins. And when we look at the middle card, which is the 10 of Swords, is kind of like comes to an end. This comes to an end. All this unsettlement comes to an end. And then comes the sun, the newness, the moving forward, the allowing everything to come forward. And then by the end of the month, what we have is a sense of, acceptance of limitations, acceptance of what is. But I'll tell you, I'm just going to put this down. I'll tell you, when I first saw this, I went, whoa, wow, what's going on? This is not going to be an easy month for most of us because whoever is behind or, does everything kind of in control, you might say, everything is a little bit out of control. There's not much control in the beginning of this. It's only towards the end of the month that somehow or other things begin to come back into order or to work out. A lot of acceptance, right? That the Queen of Pentacles right at the bottom. A lot of acceptance going on, but mostly emotions, overreactions, worry, concern, and then trying to make things balance, only to find what plan, whose plan are we following? Who has the plan? What is the plan? So this is an emotional month, I feel, one way or the other. Interesting enough, there's two pinnacle symbols, the 3 in the front top row and the Queen at the bottom. So money plays a part, but I really don't feel that it's really as big. It's more emotional reaction, worry, trying to figure out what's the best way of doing this or not doing it. So what is the answer here? The answer is to stay calm. The answer is to keep your goals very firmly in your mind, not get caught up in whatever hype is given or delivered or brought about. Because by the end of the month, with the Sun and the Queen of Pentacles at the last two basically symbols, it shows newness. Sometimes life does this a little bit too, where we go through hectic. And I was just thinking of storms because we're just coming into this period of time of storms. And it's like a storm comes in and it rages and it carries on, and then it sort of settles. And when it settles, the sky is clear, everything sort of moves back into rhythm, and then we move on. This is probably, we've had some funny months this year, but this is probably the most, it's almost like a raging sea, up and down, lots of turmoil, lots of not solidity, lots of emotion, lots of, oh my goodness, what's happening? What's taking place? Who's in command? Who's in control? Trying to keep things even, but not happening until the end of the month. I think basically by the 27th, we'll all be breathing a sigh of relief. And saying, okay, well, now we're going to be heading into November. It's hard to believe. Here I am. I know it's sort of the end of September, but it's like looking at October, like October, November, December, those are the last 3 months of the year. And I find it absolutely really difficult sometimes to think about that as they're moving. It's my goodness. But it's life has some tremendous opportunities of growth, opportunities of sadness, and opportunities of confusion. But one of the worst things, I think, is in our emotionality, when emotionality rules. And here we have two of the major, because if we're going to look at the top line here, the devil and the moon. Moon's kind of cut off. I apologize for that. Two major emotional symbols, the most emotional symbols you can find. Out of control, emotions in control, being out of control. And yet at the very end of the month, we're bringing everything back into understanding, bringing everything back into being awareness. For me, the sun, second to last symbol after the ending of the 10. 10 shows the ending. The middle row here, I really like. It shows everybody's looking at this 4. Everyone's looking at, well, this is it. This is what's happening, all closed off. And in comes the newness, showing the end of all. And when we're going through endings, we have to go through them. We have to assimilate them. We have to decide them. And then we begin to start in the new beginning. And then the new beginning is the sun coming here, which is the next symbol, the sun. So, yeah, I think we've got a really unsettled early October. then trying to get things sorted out, and then finally acceptance and maybe a new awareness, a new growth, a new process. We know there's changes going on in our society, some of which people like and some people don't. There are great division, which is unfortunate. And often when we have that kind of thing happening is that there's a lot of emotion at the top surfaces. And I think that's what we're seeing here. There could have been another, excuse me, several emotional symbols that could have been here. But this shows the journey. And the journey of October is like kind of hold your hat, take a breath, breathe through it, allow it to just unfold. I would suggest not getting too upset by what you hear or what they say or whatever, because by the time the month is over, it will be a lot easier and a lot sense of direction of where you're heading. I don't think I have, unfortunately, my voice is really crackly today. So it's because of this dry throat. So I'm just going to have a quick drink of water before I finish up here. It won't be a long talk today, but I just want you to know that, there's a saying, hope springs eternal. Hope springs eternal because we do go through things, and there are patterns that happen. Patterns in our personal lives, patterns in our country's life, patterns in the world's life, maybe even in the whole universe. It's like patterns that take place where nothing is just absolutely all by itself. And this is a time of shift and change. And if you have been doing any reading or listening to anything, that's what people have been saying. Look out, something's coming. We don't know what it is, but it's a big change. The emotional reaction that I see in here tells me that, yes, something takes place. And we as humans react emotionally. We react when we don't understand. We react when we feel we're out of control. We react when something doesn't make sense to us. And often when things don't make sense, it's because it's not really explained well. And I find very often that happens. Sometimes I am glad of my education that I had back, so I was able to kind of sometimes put things together, because little bits of snippets of ideas or news sometimes doesn't really explain what's going on. So keep your feet on the ground. Look after yourself and your family. Know that it will resolve itself. Whatever it is, whatever's going on, it will resolve itself. So you'll be able, even though you may have things you have to accept, because that Queen of Pentacles is a big acceptance card, which of course I find very important in our lives. And so it's like bringing things in. It does seem to have a money component. So maybe that's what's happening, is that they're talking about changing the money thing. Maybe that's it. It doesn't seem quite right. There's too much emotionality about it. But anyway, I just hope you have a great week. And this is just, what do they call it? Tempest in a teacup. That it just is today that it came through for me like this. But I believe other people have been saying the same thing. I don't really listen to too much to other people before I do these, because I want to see what I get. But I will say that you will have an opportunity to be able to see and be the direction of picking the cards out and putting them back on my pile. And thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. I see here Lisa Marie says, good morning. And Deborah says, hi, Norma. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you have the comments, even just saying recognition that you're here. I appreciate this. I really, really do. And through these last, what is it now, month, that I've been dealing with this health issue. And today, I tell you, I'm feeling it. But I'm here because, as I said to a friend of mine, I don't feel any pain when I'm working. I'm channeling it, so it's much easier. But I have a very bad knee, and it does let me know this. It's not all perfect here, but it's happening, and we're working. And Lisa Marie also says, thank you so much for your guidance. sending you love and light. And I appreciate it because it's really because Marion says good morning from her too. Yes, well, life goes on, and I know I'm going to be doing a lot of resting today. That's for sure. And be be safe, be comfortable, and don't worry too much. It always I found in my long life, which is getting up there now, just reorganizing my keyboard here, is that somehow everything always works out. Looks like really disaster in the beginning, and then it works out. And that's what we've got to recognize, that we're intelligent human beings. Love to all of you. And I'll see you on Sunday. Thank you. Bye.